Greetings, brothers and sisters, and welcome to Refuge Depot. As you can see on the screen, we're going to be talking about part two, talking about emergency bug out bags. Um, but what we want to do today is give you an understanding of why you should have you a bug out bag, especially in this day and time, because not only are we seeing, as we spoke on briefly last week, a lot of recalls from food poisoning. We talked about the three major ones being what? E. coli, Listeria, and Salmonella. But there's also a number of evacuation orders that are given out this year. So we're going to go into those. But before I do that, I want to first introduce my co-host, and I'll start first with Mr. Sanford Whitlow, and I'll bring him on up. And let's see here. Let me tap on there. There you go. Greetings, brother. How you doing today?
How you doing, brother Steve?
I'm doing well, doing well. All right. And we'll go ahead and bring up Mr. Aaron Olinger, and we'll bring him on up. Greetings, brother. How's it going today?
Great today, Steve. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, as well as can be, as we're looking at and not to be a Debbie Downer, but as we're looking at, you know, some possible troubles or hard times uh going into the future. But today I'm feeling fine, and one of the reasons why I'm feeling fine is it's really one of my favorite days, and you all may laugh a little bit, but one of my favorite days is eating leftovers. Leftovers from Thanksgiving taste so good. So, anyway, but we're going to go ahead and get into our topic, which is, of course, is a very serious topic. And I want you all to go ahead and chime on in whenever you feel like it. What I want to talk about is some of the different evacuation causes for us to evacuate, so we can kind of put this bug out bags in some context. So let's look at some of these different reasons why individuals might have to evacuate. So there are various evacuation orders that are typically issued in response to disasters. Some of them are like hurricanes, wildfires, floods, and other emergencies that are posed. And I'll go into a little brief detail on some of them. So, hurricane evacuations are among the most common reason for large scale evacuations in the US. In 2024, several hurricanes have prompted mandatory evacuation orders across coastal states, the Gulf Coast, and southeastern U.S. are particularly vulnerable. And as I always urge people to get the book, The Fall of America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because he talked about how the coastal lines of America are going to be inundated with these type of situations, which are going to push a lot of Americans into the center of the country. And so, to read more about that, it's worth reading for sure. Wildfire evacuations. Wildfires continue to be a major concern, especially in western states like California and Oregon. In 2004, significant wildfire activities has led to numerous evacuation orders affecting thousands of residents. And we hear about these wildfires now not only burning on the West Coast, but they're now also burning on the East Coast. So there's been some evacuations recently on the East Coast as well. Heavy, and like I said, if you all want to jump in on anything, go right ahead. Heavy rainfall and subsequent flooding can lead to urgent evacuation needs. Area prone to flash flooding or river flooding often see emergency declarations and evacuation orders issued rapidly. So when we get those heavy rainfalls, there's a lot of situations where you may have to evacuate where the dam may either bust or the water may overflow the riverbanks. And so those are situations where you have to move rapidly. And that is one of the reasons why we're saying to get you a bug out bag ready to go, and you may also want to invest in some type of inflatable device. Tornado warnings. While tornadoes typically cause localized damage, severe outbreak can lead to broader evacuations in affected areas, especially if there is a risk of multiple tornadoes occurring over short periods. And so, if you've ever been in a tornado situation or the aftermath of one, many of times you can't even go back to your residence because of the damage. So you may not necessarily have to evacuate, but you may not be able to go home, period. And so that's a situation where a bug out bag, if you can get to it, is be necessary. And earthquake preparedness in regions like California, while immediate evacuations may not always be necessary after an earthquake, preparedness plans often include potential evacuation routes and shelters for displaced individuals. And let me go into a few more. And I just want to make sure, let me see here, make sure everything is good. Okay. So let me go into just a few more, and then we can get right on into the bug out bag. So volcano eruption, and in areas near active volcanoes, i.e. Hawaii, eruptions can lead to evacuations due to lava flows and ash fall that threaten population. Hazardous material incidents. Evacuations can also occur due to chemical spills or hazardous material incidents that pose immediate health risks to nearby residents. And we'll get a little bit more into some of these situations, because I know right here in Ohio, down in Palestine, there was a train derailment. That was a horrible hazardous waste material dump that uh, it, well, we'll go into it. Severe winter storms, and this is what we're all looking at right now, is these storms. When we looked at the summer, it was too hot. We had the drought, wildfires, but now winter is upon us, and we need to take winter seriously. We know that the meteorologists are saying that in some areas it's not going to snow because it's not going to be a lot of snow because it's going to be warm. But the meteorologists, I wish I had planned and trained for that job, because they can be wrong almost 80% of the time and never be fired. So let's look at some of the snow blizzards. Public health emergencies. In rare cases, public health emergencies such as pandemics may lead authorities to issue evacuation orders for specific populations at risk of infectious disease. So we'll just go back over these real quick, and we'll go, and then I would love for you all to chime in on some of these that we'll get more into. So hurricane evacuation, wildfire evacuations, flooding events, tornado warnings, earthquake preparedness, tsunami alerts, volcano eruptions, hazardous material incidents, severe weather storms, winter storms, and public health emergencies. These are categories representing the primary context under which significant evacuation orders have been issued across the United States in 2024. So, with that, let me go back here as I navigate this computer. And so, did you all want to comment on any of those evacuations orders that were issued in 2004?
Yeah, I'd like to mention some additionals. I mean,
Mm,
I'm a strong proponent of sheltering in place because of familiarity and knowing your own property. But whenever there's a threat of significance that would make you think that now my family is in danger, now you have to make the decision whether or not to evacuate. Now,
mm,
you could have ran out of food, you could have ran out of water. It could be a nuclear threat of some type, like 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl, where you don't have a lot of time to pack up. It's time to go. There's been chemical fires at some of these plants here recently that's forced entire towns to have to move out. I remember when Bhopal, India happened overnight, the Raid factory let out a bunch of poisonous chemicals that went over 3 towns.
mm,
And a lot of those people had to leave. The ones that tried to stay over the next 10 years were going to die because of the problems that they had with their lungs after that. You got civil unrest that's starting to happen right now in Pakistan and in Haiti. In Haiti right now, you're either a gang member because of people grouping up, or you're going to be a victim because the victims are being put out of their own homes and properties. And when armed gangs start coming at you, or armed military or paramilitary, it's better to probably just go ahead and leave than to try to
mm,
duke it out with them, especially if they're going to have you outnumbered and they have the ability to overwhelm you. So any threat that approaches, even biological, if we get ready to go into another lockdown, there's always safety in numbers, and you can
mhm,
always enjoy the skills that everybody brings to the table by having a group of people together, and or having your neighbors working together in a pandemic or something. You guys could look out for each other and try to protect each other from looters. But when that occurs, I've known people that on the last lockdown, they went over to girlfriends' houses, or families grouped up and stuck it out in a property, and they brought their bug out bags with them because they were leaving the safety and security of their homes, and they knew that the bug out bag would have essentials in it that would aid them in being able to thrive and maintain themselves in a bad situation. But again, like I said, if the threat is severe enough that you're in fear of people going to lose their lives, it's best to go ahead and leave at that point. And I'll stop there.
all right. Brother Sanford, did you want to say anything more on that?
Well, I'll say you mentioned you had a great list you put together, Brother Steve. Um,
Mm,
One of the things that came to mind probably 14, 15 years ago in the early 2010s, there were certain areas in Dayton where we had windstorms and the power
mhm,
was out some neighborhoods for 24 hours, some neighborhoods for 2 weeks. And in that situation, it caused some people to have to so-called bug out or get out of Dodge, as I would say.
mm,
And a young lady I was seeing was a friend of mine, and she had to take refuge at her family's house. And I did a little research, finding out, and they said the average distance somebody has to travel to get to a place that's semi-safe is like 16 miles away from where they are already located
mm,
to find somebody you're like you're closest to. And I thought that was interesting, and it made me think about the people surrounding me that I may have that are friends or family, and just how far they are away from me, and what it would take to get that 16 miles to them or 20 miles to them. So that was an interesting thing I think people need to think about. But you can have
mm,
just simple windstorms and power outages that we have no control over that may cause us to have to leave where we are short term for that 72 hours or a little longer. So
mhm,
I think what Aaron said about having a refuge within the community and other people and building the resources is paramount. But I mean, it's not just major things that can happen. That's that affects the country nationally. It could be little small isolated incidents that can affect your city that may cause you have to bug out from your location temporarily just because of what happened in in your environment, your living environment, and within the city you live in.
Hmm. That's good.
And
Yeah,
then
that's good.
I'd like to add one more point, Steve. And this is
Hmm.
important for people to consider. The earlier that you can hit the highways or hit the roadways to get away, the better. If you have a bug out bag already packaged up, in less than 5 to 10 minutes, you're hitting the highway. If you have to pack and you hit the
Mm.
highway same time everybody else is, those roadways are going to be packed. There's going to be accidents. There'll be people running out of gas. Every accident, every car stuck on the highway becomes a roadblock. And there you are stuck out there and you can't get down the roadways because everybody's hitting the highway at the same time. The sooner you can hit the roads to get to where you're going, your bug out location, the better. So having a bag already packed is one of the essential things that you have to have. That's basic bread and butter for preppers or survivalists or anyone that wants to be ready. You don't even have to be a prepper. Just using common sense, realizing threats exist, and knowing how long it'll take you to get to where you're going. The earlier you can hit that roadway and avoid that mad rush and that crowd that's going to stop traffic on the roads, the better off you're going to be. I'll stop there, Steve.
Yeah, excellent. And like we said with the with our vehicles, we should definitely try our best now to make sure that we're always above that halfway mark on our gas tank, just in case. Because as Brother Aaron is talking about, if you have to hit the road, and you don't want to stop and try to get gas, because that's another issue. Like he's saying, not only are you going to have the roads locked up, but you're going to have lines going blocks before you can get in to even get some gas. And hopefully you'll be able to get gas before it runs out, because a lot of people may not realize that they do send tankers in to fill those what would you call them, holding tanks up with fuel. So that's very good. So let's go ahead, and if we would just recap the first program, and if you could, Brother Aaron, tell us the three bags that or the no, type of bug out bags that we are going to be covering, and the first one, and then we'll go ahead and get on into the second one.
Okay, well, your bags are your EDCs, which is your everyday carry, your GHB, which is your get home bag. Then you have your Bob, which stands for bug out bag, but down south they call them good bags, which stands for get out of Dodge. And your last and final bag would be an inch bag, which the disaster's so bad that you're never going to be able to come home, like Chernobyl
Mm.
and or 3 Mile Island. And what you got on your back is all you're going to have. And that's your inch bag. Now, we covered your EDC and get home bag could be one and the same. The more the better, the bigger the better, but it won't be too much bigger than a woman's purse because you're
Mm.
traveling light, so you can travel fast. Then you get to your bug out bag, which that in itself, or your good bag, whichever one you want to call it, that's your disaster kit, your home kit that you've got at home that you can throw in your car and leave at a moment's notice. But at the same time, the way it's set up is to keep you alive in the field for 3 days. Either keep you alive at home for 3 to 5 days or help you to be able to march to get to a collection point where people can rescue you or render aid to you in 3 to 5 days. So you've got that much gear and supplies in your bag. Now, on average, the rule is travel light, travel right. I mean, that the lighter you can travel, the further you can go and the faster you can go. But I've seen military backpacks that were close to 100 pounds. Now, the
Wow.
basic rule is they tell you your pack should only be 1/3 your body weight, but you're not carrying much gear at 1/3 your body weight. You've got to be highly skilled with wilderness skills and things in the woods to be able to operate that light. I mean, some basic kits that would be that size would be only 30 items in the kit, period. And, but I believe in my comfort. My bag's probably about 60 pounds or 65 pounds, and I've got a lot of stuff in it. And we're going to cover some of it today. I don't know if you want to cover the whole thing, Steve, because that take up probably more time than what we got, but we can cover at
We
least half
can,
the bag.
sure, let's try to get through it as best we can. If we go over, that's fine. I'm pretty sure that, the audience would appreciate it. And Brother Sanford, you want to add anything to that? And today, what bag are we talking about today?
We're talking about the BOB, which stands for bug out bag, or down south they call them good, which is get out of Dodge, but they're both one in the same bag, basically. It's your three
All right.
day, no more than 5 day survival kit.
All right. And Brother Sanford, you want to add anything to that? And we can just go ahead and get right on into it.
Yeah, one of the things I want to say, um, so I'll take, for example, me and my wife. So it's two of us here constantly.
Mm,
And I have a bag particularly designed to carry certain items, and I got a bag put aside for her that I know she can carry as far as weight that has certain items in it also. So I make sure I divide it up with specific needs that we both can carry. And I know what's in her bag, and I have it labeled on the outside. So if we need to get certain kind of medical supplies or something, it's in a lighter bag. The heavier bag, like Aaron said, I think mine is like 50 pounds. And I know that's the one that I carry. And I also have another bag that goes along with my bug out bag that's a cross strap for in front of me. And that's
mm,
designed to carry some self-defense items that I keep right in front of me. And I think it's important if it's more than one person that you kind of designate certain items to each individual with certain responsibilities. So you
mm.
know what you're responsible for in that 72-hour period we're talking about. So I just want to keep that in mind. Remember, if it's more than one person, you kind of can divide things up where if one can carry more weight than the other and certain things can go in one bag and not in another. Do that ahead of time where you already have those things placed in order.
And
Good.
I'd
That's
like to
excellent. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
then I'd like to add to that. Now, I myself will be turning 66 years old in December, and my knees aren't what they used to be. My back's not what it used to be. If due to your physical limitations, if lugging a bag is impossible to you, then get you some sort of a suitcase that has wheels on it that you can pull
Mm,
along behind you, or you can tie a rope to it and tie it around your waist and just walk and just pull that on wheels. Because if it's too difficult and your knees will not support that weight, don't push it. Or and try to have as light a pack as you can. But if you can get you a bag or some sort of a suitcase that has wheels like you see them use in the airport, and the bigger wheels are better than the little tiny wheels, and you can pull that behind you and still have your survival kit with you. So I'll stop there, Steve.
oh man, this is some good stuff that you all are giving out. I know that going to the grocery store, sometimes my wife she'll have one of those little foldable. It's actually a foldable like cart, and it's like you said, you
Cart.
got the wheels. You can just dump stuff right up into it and be on your way. So that's good stuff. Let me ask both of you then. About children. Either of you can answer what is their role? What should they be doing at this time?
Well, it would depend upon what activities. I mean, we can discuss a whole day to where I can just cover what a child's bag would have in it. I mean, you'd have
Okay.
games, you might have a few games, you might have deck of cards, some sort of candies, treat foods. They could be carrying water. Uh, I know one guy that all he's got in his one of his children's bags is a gallon of water, and that's all that child will carry.
Mm,
Or you could be carrying support items that would support, like, say, if you got a grill in one and you got those little 1 pound Coleman uh, cans of propane, uh,
hmm.
they could be carrying support gear to support that grill, and you know plasticware, plates, whatever that that would be needed, repair kits for the tent, patches, just much lighter stuff, but good support gear that would support the main body of what the parents might be carrying. But we could do a whole show on just that by itself.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll definitely have to do that because I know that families would definitely appreciate it if we, just talked about some disaster preparedness things. I shouldn't say disaster preparedness things, but how to prepare our children for different disaster events that they can be ready. And the more drills that we practice with our children, the better, so that they'll be prepared and disciplined and ready to move out when necessary, if necessary, or just be calm and not drive everyone crazy in an emergency situation. So let's go ahead and get right on into the Bob. Let's go ahead and get on into the bug out bag. And I guess Brother Aaron, you'll start us off and we'll go ahead and put you on the full screen.
okay. One, I want to say something. This is going to be controversial because people are going to want to argue this with me. There's a saying that you don't want to look tactical with your kit, and I feel that that's wrong, because if I see you going down my street and we got widespread civil unrest going on, and you and your family are all wearing backpacks, I don't care if they look like little kitty backpacks with cartoon characters on them, or they look like military backpacks. I'm going to assume that you have things of value in those kits that could benefit me. And if I'm out there and I'm a Raider class person, I'm going to take them from you. I don't care what they look like. If they look like toy bags, or if they're a pair of jeans that you rigged up to throw over your shoulder and you got stuff in it. If you're carrying something you feel it's of importance to carry, so it's going to be of importance to me. So whether it looks military or not, I'm still going to try to take it from you if I'm a Raider class person. And probably 70% of the people will be Raider class at that point. They'll try to seize assets or any sort of resources that will benefit their families. They're going to group up into gangs, and you're going to be dealing with some pretty effective Raiders at that point. The more they group up and the larger the group that they become. But starting off with the bug out bag, I will say this, and I don't know if anybody can see this bag that I had. God, it's kind of a military style bag. When you buy your bag, you want to grab your straps. You want to jerk on them as hard as you can. You want them straps to be double stitched. Last thing you want is to be trying to evacuate and you're running for your life and one of them straps break on you, because now you can't hardly control the load. It's going to half fall off your body and it's going to slow you down. So you want to make sure them straps are on there great. You want some padding on those shoulder straps, definitely, because if you don't, and you got anything that weighs 30 pounds or more, after you carry it long enough, it's going to start digging in on your shoulders. Then another thing that you want to have is a strap that goes around your waist. With no strap around the waist, that thing is going to bounce around on your back and it's going to work you to death. And I mean, it's going to make you sore. But when you strap that load down to where it's secure to your body and you pull them shoulder straps tight, now you have the ability to carry that load and it won't seem as hard. And then you want the one that goes around your waist, you want there to be some sort of lower back padding in there again, and then padding here on the sides where the straps will go around your kidneys at. You want that padding because, again, it's going to make a difference when you're carrying that load. Now, if you go with just a standard one and you don't have far to go and you're trying to be budget minded, okay. But otherwise, if you're going to carry any distance, you better have it. Then, let me see if I can pull it out here. Go to the other side. Okay, on the other side, let's see if I can pull it up and it can be seen. You can see that there's a hole right here in the pack. Now on the inside will be a little pocket that if I wanted to carry a camelback instead of a canteen, I could run that line up through this hole and bring it down around the front of my strap. And while I'm walking, if I want to drink, instead of trying to dig out my canteen and stop, I just put that bite valve in my mouth and bite down on it and suck water from a bladder that will be inside my pack. Now, with that hole not being there, I'd have to run it out. And depending upon how it's set up, if it's zipped shut or tied shut, it may not be possible to run that line. Then I have a handle on the top to where I can handle it in the event I'm taking off my back and I just want to carry it in my hand. I have this availability too. This is another thing that you want to have. And then on the front here, on my straps, I have an area where I can attach additional gear. That's a must-have. On the back, you can see these, see if I can get the light on it. You can see these little areas. Oh man. And these are areas that you can add additional kits to the back of your thing, little pouches and stuff that are valuable, because the more pouches, the more pockets on the bag, the better. You can keep your stuff more organized and separated. I mean, and then these carabiner rings that you can buy, these are valuable for attaching additional gear or cookware or whatever to the back of your packs as well. I mean, on the get home bag that I had last week, this carabiner ring that I have here, I can take that get home bag and attach it to this bag to where it doubles my capacity to be able to carry extra equipment. Everything I got in the get home bag, I don't have to abandon it. I can add it on. And if I strap everything up right and load my pack correctly, then it's not going to work me to death. Now, those who can get a pack that's got a frame to it, either an outside frame or an inside frame built into it, that's even better. And that's going to be easier for you to carry the loads as well. But that frame is going to cost money. So if you're going for a budget, your basic knapsack would be okay, as long as you know you don't have to go far. But if you got a frame attached to the backpack, that's the best that you can get, inside frame or an outside frame. And then everything would ride more comfortable on you. But those are things that you want to look for, and points on the bag that you can tie additional stuff on, to where I've got paracord here. I can add or tie cookware or additional things to the outside of this bag that will ride on the outside. Then I'd like to start by talking about what I do have on the outside of my bag.
Let me ask you real quick, Brother Aaron, where do you get bags like this?
You can order them online. A good place to go would be the gun and knife shows. They usually have someone there selling military surplus bags that they've got straight from the military that people have turned in, or they bought surplus. And a lot of those have frames attached to them, and they were used by the military, so they do meet military standards and specifications. So I would definitely go there. You can go into camping sections and find bags, but they're not the same quality as the military geared bags would be. But again, you have to come up with some sort of threat assessment and know where you're going to bug out to, how long it's going to take you to get there. And again, I've always stressed practice makes perfect. I mean, take the bag out, throw it on your shoulder. And if you're going to go out and walk around the park or walk around the block a few times, do it with your bag on. Get used to that weight. Don't wait and let your knees experience it on the very first day of you bugging out. Get your body used to carrying that weight, because it's all going to make a difference on how far you're going to be able to travel. So I'll stop there for right now, Steve.
All right. And Brother Sanford, did you want to chime in and say anything as far as what Brother Aaron has shared so far?
Oh, everything he said is 100% essential. I think that there's so many things you can have in the bag, and how he talked about how he has it spaced out, and I mentioned about how I have two bags set up. Um, so probably the bag I may show a little bit about deals with more of the being able to hold on to your stuff if you possibly can. You know how he talked about raiders taking what when they see something they want, trying to take that from you. So I'm a firm believer that one of the bags that I carry, that's a heavier bag, has a few more defensive items in it right up front, where I can possibly deter that for a moment. So um, I believe in even the jackets. I got two jackets set up, and the jackets have pockets all over, like the sleeves for different compartments to hold different things in them. So one time we talked before about when it got low light and how we have like an item like, let me get it here for to get in front of the camera here. An item
Hmm.
like this here, which is an emergency flashlight. That's a crank to it.
Right.
Okay, I keep stuff like that in one of the bags. I keep those kind of things isolated. I keep some of the central lighting we talked about. I keep that isolated in some of the bags. Some of the personal things I think, far as protection wise, that I keep to maintain my bag. One of the items that Aaron Company sells, I always have a belt that's I consider to be an emergency belt that's made out of a good nylon material. But this belt also is supplied with a blade in it. So something that's not
Mm.
obvious to the average person, but it can be used as a self-defense tool if I had to. And I make that a part of what I keep near my bag. And when I got the change, I put that on myself. Um, I talked about blades before. Um, Everything he's saying is exactly what we need. Like I said, I have one bag mainly designed for the things he's talking about. Essentially, I have another bag that's designed to try to help us maintain what we have too.
Hmm.
That I keep in my forward body, because you will be in a situation where people are desperate and people will
Right.
gather together to try to take what they think you have to make it better for themselves. So part of that
And
conscious effort is making sure that you have a role
hmm
and you understand what your role is. If it's more than one of you, if it's just yourself, that you have things strategically placed where you can take hold of these items, where they can be used in whatever fashion need be to make sure you can make it through the way you need to make it through. I talk about
hmm
cash all the time. A big proponent of everybody having a certain amount of cash if they can, not just on hand in the house, but if you needed to travel, you need small bills. Okay. And you need to have small bills to different parts of your body. You don't need to have, if you got $100, if that's all you got, you don't take all $100 and put it to your front left pocket. You know what I mean?
Right.
You put
Right.
some in your sock, put some underneath in your sock between your foot and your shoe. Those kind of things.
Mhm.
I think everything that you have to take with you needs to be set in a certain place where you don't have to find that. So
Excellent.
I
Excellent.
essentially have
Good.
a
Good information.
whole set of clothing and everything, just in case, that's prepared for a certain incident that has to happen. That I can go straight to it, and I know what I need is right there.
And we will definitely have to get into some of those items that you're talking about as far as protection is concerned. We def I know some of the items we may not be able to show. I know that
Right.
with brother Aaron, some of the items he has on the back wall, that's okay, but some of them they'll just take the video right off the YouTube
Oh,
channel.
well,
So,
well I'm
but
gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it PG-13 and below.
yeah, right. All right, brother Aaron, you want to go ahead
Okay.
and show us?
Yeah. I want to talk about a little bit more about, make two more points about the bag. Let me see if I can get myself
Sure.
adjusted here. Where, okay, on the bag, whoops, going the wrong way. Again, you can see these things here that you can put stuff, their attachment points. They call them Molly or Mo. You can see them back here, additional spots that you can
Mm-hmm.
attach things to. You want the bag to have those because, again, you're going to attach things on the outside. And then you'll have these side straps. I call them load retention straps. You can, once you get your pack loaded, you can pull those tight and they help compress the load. So, again, it's not so much hanging off the back that
Mm-hmm.
makes you wants to pull you over backwards. It pulls everything in tight. It keeps everything as close to your body as they can. I guess you call them compression straps, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely want your pack to have something like that as well. Then going into stuff I have on the outside. Now, right around front where I'm at, I keep a flashlight, small tactical light, and I got a red in color. I'm not worried about it being camouflaged because if it falls in the grass, I want to be able to find it. If
Mm-hmm.
it's a low light condition, I don't want to lose it because I got a camouflage flashlight. Um, so I keep it light so that I can see, especially if I'm walking at night. Then I have something here, and keep in mind, if it can serve more than one purpose, it has a dual purpose. It should automatically go in the bag. This is an entrenchment tool. I attach it to the outside. It's wooden handle. I don't have the fold up ones. I don't like the fold up ones. I've seen good ones, so don't get me wrong, but
Right.
I prefer a solid wooden handle. And this is by Cold Steel, so it has a sharp edge on the sides. So I can use this as a weapon. During World War II, World War One, a lot of people use these entrenchment tools as weapons. And the
Mm.
Spetsnaz, which is Russian Special Forces, theirs is super sharp on the side, and they can actually throw theirs and stick them in trees.
Wow.
And they use these entrenchment tools. So I can dig a slit trench for sanitation. I can use it for self-defense. I can dig a foxhole or help use this to help me be able to make a shelter. So since it's got more than one use, it automatically goes in the bag. And
And
the
I wanted
second
to
thing
just,
that,
I just
go
wanted
ahead.
to, veggie back off of what you're saying too, is that what we need to do, if we can possibly do it, is to have some tools that have dual use. They have come out with a lot of science, the scientists have figured out a way to make one tool five tools. Of course, you got to be careful, like you're saying, brother Aaron, that you don't get these cheap items that as soon as you start turning the screw, the thing falls apart. So but that's definitely something. And I wanted to you go right ahead, and I'm gonna show you this tool that has some dual use that I have. I think it's buried under all this stuff I got, but go right ahead.
And the second tool for anybody that watches Naked and Afraid, you will see this is the number one requested item. And that's a machete. Again, I've got one by Cold
Mhm.
Steel. This is carbon steel. It holds up. Once you sharpen it, you can use a file to sharpen it with. It holds an edge for a long time, and it will hold a razor's edge. This is a panga style machete. It has a sheath attached, a sheath that comes with it. I can attach it to the outside of my pack, or if I was getting ready to go on a trek, I could take it off the pack and just use the belt loop that's on the side right here, and be able to put it right on my belt and wear it right there on my side where it's handy and easily accessible for me to get to. But self-defense, building a shelter, digging in the dirt, different uses, you got to have a machete with your kit. Then you're going to need a cutting tool. And what I have is a serpentine blade. This is heavy duty. It's front end heavy. I can use to chop with. I can use it for self-defense. I can cut line, rope. If I got to try to, say, clean some game,
Mm,
Blade it. I've got the blade, or I could stick it down in the ground, angle it up. Truck tire goes over top of it, flattens tire. I
mm,
mean, multiple uses. So you got to have a cutting tool, and you're going to need more than one. And with my cutting tool, I've got both a compass as well as a snare that comes in that kit, that particular pack.
mm.
Okay. Now you start going to inside pockets. On my outside pocket, I've got fishing line, spool of line, and I have a fishing kit. Floaters, hooks, sinkers. You can always you use your machete and cut a limb out of a tree, do some cane
Mhm.
pole fishing to try to get you some food, along with using those snares to try to snare game with. But gotta have it because you don't know how
Right.
long you're going to be there in the field, and if you're anywhere where there's a water or a source or something that you think has fish in it, then that's a must-have item. Next thing I got is the other side pocket, and this is my fire kit. I have cigarette
Okay.
lighters. I've got cotton balls dipped in petroleum jelly, which is Vaseline. I got steel wool that I can touch a 9-volt battery to that would create sparks to be able to create a fire. I've got a candle in there that I could use to melt wax to help try to create a fire. A couple lighters, let me see. And then I have, and it's Bear Grylls system. This is the system where you hit the flint,
Yeah.
you hit the magnesium rod against the steel striker, and it throws sparks. So I probably have 5 different ways to create a fire. And then I have what is called a pack of Instafire.
Mm.
And say the wintertime, and I've got wet wood or something, I can put that on top of wet wood and I can light it. It will burn for 30 minutes, which will give me a chance to be able to ignite damp or wet wood. So I have 5 different ways. So if any one of them fails, I have a backup for my backup. Because if you can't create fire, you're not going to be able to cook. You won't be able to purify water. You're screwed if you can't make fire. I got
Mhm.
5 different ways of making fire in that kit.
And not to overlook the one item that you have there is the Ziploc bag. I'm not sure, but that is definitely because you don't want those items to get wet. So that's definitely some items that you can also store in your bob. You know, it's some of those Ziploc bags. You know.
Then on the outside again, I have your regular quart or 2-quart canteen here. And then inside the case, let's see if I can get it out.
Hmm.
I have what they call the canteen cup. Let me get it out here so I can show it to you and explain it. During World War II, Korea, soldiers practically lived out of this cup. When it fits in the canteen container, it all becomes one unit.
Hmm.
But it has 2 things on the back. I can heat water up in the fire. I can boil water to boil rice or use the what they call those noodles that you just use hot
Ramen,
water for,
ramen.
ramen
Hmm.
noodles. But many things you can do with this, and it's great to have. It's a great backup. I mean, you can literally cook out of this thing if you had to by itself, and it all fits together. And then it goes down inside the canteen case that fits on the outside of my pack. And
And And while you're looking at it, I wanted to show the people this multiple use device that I have. Let me put myself on the screen here. And this little gadget right here, you can see it has a little blade at the top. you know, if you have a can, some can, and you don't have a can opener, here you go. You can puncture that. It has some paracord, little, string on there. Um, and then it has a number of other different things attached to it. On this end, you have, if you could see it, I'll try to hold it straight. This right here is where you can unscrew things. It On this side, it has, some measuring, but it's just little items like this, and this is real, you can't, bend this thing. So it's just little items like that, that can help where you don't have to take up too much room in your bag, but it can be very useful. Let's see here. All right, go right ahead.
All right. On the very bottom pocket, let me see if I can hold it up. I have a bottom pocket right here that I can open up on the back of my pack. That bottom pocket is my first aid kit that I put
Mhm.
on the back of my pack. I have a Calumet light stick that give me light for about an hour or two. I have latex rubber gloves. You got to, if you're treating wounds, you got to have those hands clean.
Definitely,
I
those
have
are good.
I have combat quick clot. This is a hemostatic agent. It gels the blood, creates a clot, so so that your person won't bleed out. I have a tourniquet for trying to seal up deep cuts or whatever that's got you bleeding pretty good on your legs or your arms. I have two, uh, and these are feminine hygiene products. I
I
have
was gonna
two
say
of
that.
them.
Right.
These are feminine napkins. They're non-deodorized because you don't want them to have deodorant in them to give you an infection. And again, these tied around my arm, one of them, and you can make a compression bandage using these to help control bleeding. This is H&H gauze. It's real thick, very, very absorbent. This is a military triangular bandage. When you open it fully up, it can form it. You can make it into a triangle. Use it to make a sling around your neck. You can tie it around your head. You can tie it around your face if you have to. You can make splints out of it. You could tie your arm with this to make a compression bandage. Probably 12 different uses for this thing, including cutting pieces off of it to be fire tender. So if it's multi-use, it goes in the bag. Then, let me see what else I got here. Let me unzip this one compartment. Okay. I've got a little pack of Band-Aids for small wounds. I got a clamp if I have to clamp off an artery or something. I do have alcohol wipes and preps and things I can wipe the instruments down with.
Hmm.
This is iodine type globs and stuff to again treat wounds with. More Band-Aids of a different size. Chapstick for running over shallow scratches or keeping the lips kind of lubricated, so that in the extreme hot summer or extreme cold of winter, your mouth don't become infected.
Mhm.
And then in case someone gets splinters, I have tweezers,
Right.
large size, that I can do different things with. And that's what I have in the basic first aid kit to try to get me to wherever I'm going, to where my bigger kits will be to be able to be treated by. But I've got quite a bit of gear there to be able to help.
Mhm.
And that takes me to my next compartment on my bag.
And
that,
while you're,
go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
And that I have these fuel cubes. They're by Espit. And what they do is you break one off, you put it into your little stove, you touch it with a match, it lights on fire. Each cube will burn. You get 12 of them in a pack. Each cube will burn for, say, 14 minutes.
Okay.
At 7 minutes, they reach boiling point. So if you're trying to boil a cup of water, after about 7 minutes, that water will start to boil, and then you still have a little bit of cooking time beyond that. I have a pack of water purification tablets. Because again, 2 is 1, 1 is none. I will treat the water 2 different ways to guarantee that I'm drinking safe water. This is very valuable, not often most forgotten about. Just a can opener.
That's
if
a
you got
survival
canned
item
food,
right
or
there.
you run across canned food, how are you going to open it? Now you can take canned food and take the lid and make circles with it on the concrete, but you're going to lose part of it when it starts leaking out. But it'll weaken that can enough to where you can start to pry it open with your cutting tool. Then I have a bar of Ivory soap, all white, no deodorant, just standard soap. Again, to clean the hands, clean the body. You just taking a little light wash up or something. And you can use that triangular bandage as a washcloth in an improvised situation. I have what some people call Boy Scout knife, but this is a Swedish knife. It's got probably 12 different gadgets on it, different tools for different purposes. This here, let me open it up.
And we want the people who are watching to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. Get more information like this. Go right ahead, brother.
This right here is what you call a military sewing kit. It's got scissors, needle, different colored threads. If you had to sew your strap back on your pack, or you had to make repairs to your tent, repairs to your clothing, ideal thing to have. Got here. This is called a hobo knife. You have three attachments on it. You have your blade. You have your spoon. And you have your fork. Now I can do a little trick, and I can take these items off. Each one comes off in a separate piece. So you have 3 pieces if you want to take it apart and cut your food or do whatever. But I call them hobo knives. They do have a term for them, but I don't know the terminology off the top of my head. But back in the day, if somebody was out there living on the railroads or whatever, they all carried a hobo knife. These would probably run you about 25, 30 bucks for. Now, again, you saw a machete as a cutting tool. You saw a big Rambo style knife. That was a cutting tool. You saw the Swiss Army knife, and then you saw a hobo knife. Each one, I believe in using the right tool for the right job. I'm not going to use a hammer to do everything with. I want to have the right tool. So my bag is going to weigh a little bit more, but when I need something, it's going to be at arm's length where I can get to it. It's not a question of, man, what am I going to do now? Then these are GI can openers. There's about 4 of them in there. You stick them on the can, push them down, and you slowly turn the can, and you just keep going up and down like a lever, and it cuts the can until you go all the way around the can. You can open the can. So what did you see? You saw the regular can opener, but if that got lost, how am I going to open the can? I got 4 extra openers right here, backup for my backup.
All right.
And I can't overemphasize that enough. Having backup and redundancy built into your kit. Did you want to say something, either one of you? I don't want to monopolize the show. If you guys want to jump in at any point.
No, no, that's fine. No, no, when you look at a lot of these, like The Walking Dead, and some of these other type of programs. I think those are really good programs to watch, even though they may be for entertainment purposes. There's a lot of educational information that you can definitely get out of there. And one of the things that, when you're talking about those can openers, is that we always see that one of the characters will go to a store that, of course, the city is abandoned. They got stores and they got all these canned foods, but without a can opener, those canned foods will be inaccessible. So definitely that can opener is a very valuable tool.
Okay. Then I have another item here. These are called compression towels. You get about 12 of them in a box. When you get them out, it looks like this.
Mm-hmm.
They're compressed towelettes. Now, what you do, let me see if I can make this work here.
All right.
You put a little bit of water on them.
Right.
And by putting just a little bit of water on them, they'll start to open up and they start to uncompress. Let's see here if I got enough on this one to make it work. It's starting to. Let me do it one more time.
Yeah. And I think I was talking on that last week. Those are really nice, and they're pretty durable as well. One
Yeah.
of the things, of course, that you want to watch out if you have children, you definitely want to make sure that they don't get access to them, because they may think that they're some type of uh, candy or something like that, because they look like big horse pills.
Okay. And as you can see, it opens up into a towel. These are
Hmm.
strong. Okay.
Right.
Wash my face. I can wash my body down with them in an emergency. Wash my hands. If I didn't put no water on them, I could open them up and use them for fire tender. Great thing. I could try to clean off a wound or something with. Great thing to have. If push come to shove, if I didn't have any toilet paper, these could be used for improvised toilet paper.
Right.
But again, I don't know if you can hear this.
Yeah.
I'm really yanking
Hmm.
on these. They ain't tearing.
Yeah.
They're made of cotton and they're pretty good, but they
Hmm.
start off about the size of a quarter, and they really open up into something that's very usable. And again, because of the multiple uses of it, that's the reason why it goes in the bag. And you
Hmm.
only get that knowledge of the multiple uses by practicing. But those are the things I have available in the third outside pocket.
Hmm.
Now I start to get into the inner contents of the bag itself.
Okay.
All right. Now I have a flashlight that's built onto this, and it's got different functions to it, including SOS.
Mm.
Or I can open it up, and it opens up into a super bright camp light.
Hmm.
Okay. I got MRE meals, a different type. I can get by on one of these a day, but I got multiple ones in here. And then I also have freeze dried food
Hmm.
that just add hot water to it from boiling hot water. Let it wait 10, 15 minutes. And then you can open the bag back up, stir it up, and you got a meal ready to eat.
Hmm.
The freeze dry stuff is very light in weight, but you have to carry enough water. Water and bullets, that's probably the two heaviest things that you can put into a pack to try to carry.
Mm.
So be aware of that when you start stacking. And again, here's another meal here. This one is vegetarian chili, and this actually tastes like real chili. So I don't
Mm.
have any problems with it. I have one of the lights, 4-in-1 camp lights that Sanford showed you that has a radio on it, AM,
Hmm.
FM, so you can hear emergency reports. It has a flashlight on it, and it has a siren on it in case you're buried in rubble. But and it can also be used to charge your cell phone with in an event that your cell phone's dead. And this is another freeze dried meal here. This is Chili Mac by Mountain House.
Hmm.
Because I had mine set up to be able to go 5 days. 3 days to go by so quick, and there you are, you got nothing left. Then I got a certain amount of bottles of water in there that I carry. And like I said, water adds a lot of weight. So
Hmm.
watch yourself on that. Now, this is by Esprit again. This is what I carry as a stove. I'm going to break it out and show it to you. These are real handy to have. You can get this off of Amazon. Let's see if I can get this opened up here. But one of you go ahead and say something while I get this
Okay,
light open here.
sure. So we definitely, like I'm saying to everyone, we definitely want you to like, subscribe, and follow. Also, I'm going to put into the description the store where you can get a lot of these items. Also, when you see me put their names up, you can also contact them because they also sell these items that you can purchase from them. And one of the things that I definitely would love for all of you to do is to purchase a book that I've written called "The Inescapable Famine." The Inescapable Famine. We're starting to hear more and more people talking about famine. And so, to real quickly just go over some of the reasons why it's inescapable, is because when you look, America is suffering America is suffering from all of the things that bring about famine. So you have the supply chain disruption that's going on. You have extreme weather that's going on. You have insect die off that's going on. You have population displacement that's going on with immigrants being brought in, and with the as we just talked about, people having to evacuate from one area to another area. You have economic collapse. And this is one of the things that the mainstream media right now, they're lying to you in your face. They're telling you everybody is going out there and the shopping season is so great. And then the next news story is about how the pantries are being inundated with a number of people. So which one is it? Either the people are can't afford food, or are they using the money that they should be buying for food to buy toys? Come on. So get this book, The Inescapable Famine, because one of the things that it also talks about is how you can prepare yourself for this coming famine by starting you a home garden, getting with your community, and working together. As we said on one program, that in the book it talks about how churches can employ some of the young people in the community to begin to grow gardens. But the Inescapable Famine, you can get that at refugedepot.com. You can also go on to Amazon and just type in Inescapable Famine, and it'll come right up. You'll see a bald man. I think he's clutching his head. He's got an empty plate in front of him. So don't be like him on the cover. So with that, go right ahead. And Brother Sanford, did you want to say anything before Aaron goes back on? Because I know that you also have a business that people can learn so much from.
Aaron's doing an excellent job. I think we all basically have just about the same things. He has some things in there I don't have that I like that I'm gonna add to my other bag. The one thing I do want to bring up is when we do a workshop, I
Hmm.
plan to go along with what Aaron's bag is and show you maybe a poor man's version of some of the alternative things we can use that may be at hand in your home that we can use for certain uses too. Where he goes like the two is one and one is none. You know, so I'm enjoying it. As we all on the same page, and you know, let's keep it going, baby. Roll, baby,
All right.
roll.
Yeah.
Now,
All right.
earlier I showed you where I had the Esprit fuel cubes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'm going to show you is what I use that in. Now, this is the base. Let me turn a light up here. See the little square in the bottom of the base?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the fuel cube sits in. It has an open end on the opposite side that you stick a match or a lit stick in to touch the cube. It has a pot that sits on top, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
The pot has handles that folds out.
Nice.
The pot also has a lid. You can cook rice in this, you can cook noodles, you can heat up chili. MREs are designed to eat cold or hot, but you cannot underestimate the value of a good hot meal, especially on a chilly morning or a cold day. That hot meal helps to keep your body going good. But this is an Esprit stove. You're talking probably $35 for one,
Yeah.
but it runs off of fuel cubes. Now, if push come to shove and I ran out of fuel cubes, I can stick sticks in there and light that and run it off of that. And then what's nice about it is when you get done and you kind of clean it up a little bit, arms fold back in, the base goes inside the cup, the
Mm-hmm.
lid goes on top, and that's the unit that fits down into your bag.
See,
So
that's what I
you
like.
kind of see
That's nice.
everything's compact. And keep in mind, I showed you the canteen cup that I can use as a pot too. On that base, I could set that canteen cup up on top of it if I wanted to boil a bunch of water or something and run that. But I've got this way of cooking, and then I have that canteen cup that I can put next to a campfire or something and cook. Two is one is none.
I wanted to add to what you were saying about the you were saying about the physical. I also wanted to, when you were talking about a warm meal, you know, also it goes into our mental state as well. You know, that warm meal can go a
Mhm.
long way to keeping us sane when stuff hits the fan.
Now, here's something else. Now, remember, I showed you the little uh, small little compression
Right.
towels. Okay. Here's a bottle of what is called body bath.
Hmm.
I can put a little bit of that on. After so many days, you'll start getting bacteria building up on your skin, and that bacteria will start to itch. And when you
Hmm.
start getting itchy, you start scratching, you start breaking your skin with them nails, infection can set in. This is a way of being able to take a bath without having to get into a shower and things. You can wipe yourself
Hmm.
down, and you don't have to wipe it off. If you want to leave it on, you can leave it on. It's not going to hurt anything, but it will kill bacteria on your skin. So I keep a bottle of body bath inside in
Hmm.
case I need to take a wash up or something in the field. This right here is what you call, this is a game kit. This is like, let me see if I can get it out here. It's got a tricky notch on it. That's a bone
Mm-hmm.
saw. If I got to process a deer or groundhog or something, this is by Gerber. It's a game cleaning kit. This, if I got a deer or a hog hanging up, I cut a little slit down below, put my fingers in it, and it works like a zipper. I put just inside their flesh. I don't want to cut deep because I don't want to cut the intestines because they contaminate the meat. And I can just go straight up their body with that because that's got a blade on it, and it will open them right up.
Hmm.
and I can get those insides out that I've got. But that's handy to have. Again, this is by Gerber. It's called a Gator. Another cutting tool. I think, what are we up to? 5 or 6 now? You won't have enough of these. Again, when one knife gets sharp, if you don't have a sharpener with you, what are you going to do to clean or be able to continue to cut without causing jagged cuts? I got extra blades for the little zipper thing. Got extra blades for the bone saw. But I can clean and process good size animals with this kit. And, you know, it goes all together. Put that back in. And it just fits down on the side of your kit. That's by Gerber, game processing kit. A lot of people won't have that in your kit. But if you're catching fish or you're using animal snares to catch animals with, handy thing to have. Now I've got 2 of these that I keep in there with some extra chapstick. Again, this runs out, you're in trouble. So I keep more than one. This is a bandana. Put it around there and put some sunglasses on to keep debris out of my eyes. Use it for a fire tender. I can cut strips off of it, tie sticks or splints around my leg. It's a big square. These probably run you about $2 for them. I keep 2 inside my kit. Let's say that I don't want my water filter to get clogged up. I can put this on the end of my water filter to be a pre-filter, stick it down in the water. And if there's a bunch of debris floating around the water, as I draw up through that life straw, that bigger components or debris that's floating in the water would go up in my straw and stop up my filter. But by having this on the outside and sipping the water through it, I take the debris out of the water, and that extends the life of my life straw, because the life straw will do 1,000 gallons of water, but it could be stopped up after 5 gallons if you're just sucking a bunch of debris up in it. So to have a pre-filter handy would be vital.
Yeah.
And again, I keep 2 of them. I don't want nobody to think I'm telling lies over here, but yeah, I got 2. Handy thing, multi-purpose. Again, I got a massive gash on my arm. I can put that lady's feminine napkin on there, and I can wrap that duct tape around it. Duct tape can be used to patch holes in your tent. It could be used to help make things waterproof by covering the outside of objects. Hell, you could handcuff somebody with duct tape if you had to, and you didn't want to.
Is invaluable.
Many, many uses. No one has got that many uses. Into the bag it goes. Hand sanitizer. Wood's having a hard time starting up. Squeeze a bunch of hand sanitizer over it. You'll light that fire up to be able to make a campfire. Roll of toilet paper. Mother Nature's going to call. Whether you're a woman or man, you just squeeze it down and put it into a quart thing to keep it waterproof. Because if you don't, and this gets wet, or your pack gets rained on and it gets wet, you got a mess on your hands. So this is something you definitely want to put into your kit. What else got here? Got another bottle of hand sanitizer. I try to keep about 3 or 4 little small bottles of hand sanitizer. Open this up. Bic lighters. Now keep in mind, backup from a backup. You saw my fire kit, 5 ways to start fire. And this backs up that. This here goes with that 4-in-1 radio that helps me to be able to charge up my cell phone. This is a compass. It also has a barometer on it. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got 9 functions to this particular unit here, along with just being
Wow.
a compass. So you can
Okay.
do many things with it. You got to know where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Get this out here. These are MRE heaters. You open it up, put the entree to MRE down in it. As you can see from the back, it has this little chemical thing here. On the front, it tells you not to overfill. You just fill it with water up to this level where you see the line go across. Stick your MRE down in there. That chemical element reacts with water, and it'll heat up your first entree steaming hot. And then the second entree won't be steaming hot, but it'll be a little bit more than just warm. It'll be kind of hot food. But you can get away with hooking it up. You just stick your entree down in there, you put your water in, lean it up against a tree, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You're eating a hot meal without having to start a fire and giving away your position. So that's
Right.
something you have to take into consideration. Again, the fire,
Yeah.
2 is 1, 1 is none. I have the fire to cook by, or I got these.
Hmm.
Then in case of extreme summer or winter, I have
Oh yeah.
sunglasses. I
Very
don't want to get
important.
super blind. I want to keep debris and stuff that's blowing in the air, or if I'm firing a gun, I want to have on some glasses. These are military style. Got to have those.
Mm-hmm.
Let
Then,
me ask you a question, Brother Eric.
sure.
How important, and I'm doing this on behalf of people who may be looking or listening, how important is it to go into that bag periodically with some kind of timeline to see if the things that you have in there have expired or become
Good
dried
question.
out or become like you talked about the petroleum jelly on the cotton balls. How often should somebody check that to make sure that's still in good working condition? You know, when
I would
you
go.
how often should you go through that bag and look through that bag and update whatever's in that bag?
I'd go every 5 to 6 months. The MREs are gonna, as long as you keep everything in a cool, dry place in your basement or in the bottom of a closet, they're not being exposed to heat. You'll get 5 years easy out of MREs, and you could go beyond that if you keep them in a cool, dry place. The things that you'll have to watch out for is going to be your medicines that are like your iodine swabs and stuff, your alcohol prep pads, or if you've got canned goods, you might would want to check them and make sure the cans aren't dented. There's no cracks or anything that where that food could become and would have botulism in it. But I would say, and then if you have anything that's battery operated, you want to check them batteries. Because even though a battery
Mm-hmm.
might say 2 years shelf life, after about 3 years, some of them will crack and start leaking acid, and it'll ruin your lights or whatever. So you want to
Mm-hmm.
check this. Then the next thing I have is paracord. I carry 2 of these. This is 100 foot. This will hold 550 pounds of weight. So I carry 2 of these because I can build shelter with this. I can tie off stuff. Many uses with paracord, but my main use for the paracord, and again, you're tying off stuff on the outside of your pack. I got a side pocket here. Got to slide this thing out. This is a tarp.
Mm.
I want to build me a shelter, and this is a 10 by 20. This ain't no little one.
Mm.
I want to be able to get in out of the weather.
Yeah.
And I might want to fold the bottom across the ground to make like a little lip that I can lay on and get my body up off the ground, because you don't want to get hypothermia by laying on the flat surface. So I'll make a tent and then fold the bottom underneath. That give me something to lay on. Now, Special Forces guy told me instead of setting up a tent and giving away their position, they would carry a tarp in their pack, and they would open it up like a leaf. I mean, you just open it up, lay it on the ground, you lay on top of it, and then you pull the thing over top of you, and they kept the rain off of them. And they didn't have no big tent that people could see from a distance. They were laying flat to the ground with just the thing folded over them like a big blanket, and it would go over top of their head, and they're inside of it.
Mm.
So paracord and a tarp guarantees you're going to have shelter from the elements. So
Yeah.
that's something in consideration. Let me see if there's anything else I've left out. Of course, you want to have extra batteries. Oh yeah, I got one. I'm almost at the end here. This is a winter ski mask. You don't know when you bug out if it's going to be the summertime or wintertime. Now, along with having an extra change of clothing and stuff inside there, that includes underwear and socks. This will help protect your face from frostbite. So, winter ski mask is valuable to have. This is one of the things you were talking about, the emergency blankets.
Right.
Okay. I have one of these type hats here, military style. Keep rain and stuff off your head. And
that's
keep
nice.
sun off your head too, so you don't get sunstroke. You're talking probably 15, 20 bucks on one of those. Also have, I got a pair of gloves in there. Here's two more bandanas. And then this is a pack, a 5-pack of what you call animal snares. Because see, when you're fishing, you're only going to have a chance to catch fish while you're out there actively participating in it. Once you set up animal snares, you're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, nonstop until they catch you something. So you don't have to go out every day if you got snares out trying to catch fish. I have a rain poncho. Again, you're rained on while you're walking, and you're trying to set up your tent or whatever. That's valuable to have.
Very
I think
valuable.
that might be it, Steve. That might be it.
Wow. And so
I got
all of that fits in.
Yeah, it all fits into one bag.
All right. And you say how much?
Like a weighs 60 or 65 pounds. And for those that want to know, I believe in having quality equipment in my bag. Yeah, you can go to Walmart or somewhere and buy a survival kit for probably 75 bucks or 80 bucks. And they say it's a 3-day kit, but you got dehydrated food that I think tastes like paste. And then you got a bunch of plastic utensils and stuff. And what little bit of metal items you got in there, you put any muscle to it or what else, they bend. And I would rather have quality material. So everything that I showed you, including my meals and everything, extra batteries and stuff, and you got to have a pair of gloves to protect your hands. My bag is probably close to $500 that I done put into my bag. I built a similar kit for my daughter, but I've done other kits for people that were in the 300 range to 450 that they felt would be ample for them. But you want to personalize the kit as much as you can. And if you are on some sort of prescription drugs, make sure you put them in there, because that's one of the most forgotten items in a disaster is that people leave their prescriptions behind. So, and then you want to also add to it a copy of your birth certificate, because you may have to prove you're a U.S. citizen. You want a title to your car and deed or whatever to your house, because while you're gone, you may have squatters that have come in there. And when you tell the military, that's my place, and they say, prove it, you got to have something to prove it.
Yeah.
So otherwise, the squatters are going to keep it, because they say possession is 9/10 of the law. So you want to come back into your property, you better have proof that that belongs to you. And I'll stop there for now, Steve. I hope I didn't take too much of the show time here.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Yeah, that was right on time. And yeah, we hear a lot about that going on with people scamming people, squatting in their homes, and next thing you know, somehow they're able to take possession of their homes or something. I don't know how it works, but I've seen it on the news and it's real. So that's definitely good information. So yeah, we've definitely cleared that hour. We're into an hour and 30 minutes, so I think we can go ahead and wrap it on up and let people digest some of the information that they've heard. So let's go ahead and just do any parting words, and then we'll go ahead and close it on out. And we'll go with you, brother Aaron and Mr. Sanford.
Okay.
We'll let you close this on out.
Okay. In this day and time we're living in is very uncertain times. Disasters don't call ahead to schedule with you. You don't know what's going to happen. So if you want to be prepared for something, basic bread and butter is going to be your disaster kit. So get that established. And even if you don't plan to bug out, you don't know what's going to happen. If you're going to shelter in place, that's great. But at a moment's notice, if you have to leave in a hurry to save the life of your family and your friends, having that kit already to go is going to make a big difference on how soon you can hit the highway and how far you're going to be able to go before the roadways start to become cluttered. So don't wait till the last minute. Don't sit back and say, I'm going to do it. Get started now. You
Mhm.
don't have to buy everything at once. I built my kit over a 6 month time period, a little bit each month. And at the end of 6 months, it's done. And you're set and you're ready to go. So start getting a few items here and there, start putting them back, get you a backpack. And again, test the straps because you want to know them straps is going to hold together because if it comes loose while you're in the field, you're in trouble. But just start adding things to it, personalize it to what your needs and your limitations are. And I'll stop there, Steve.
All right, sounds good. Brother Brother Sanford.
Well, I think in the words of Brother Aaron, two is one and one is none. So this is all about being prepared. And he done an excellent job. I opening up his bag and sharing everything in there because I wouldn't want to do that to
Mhm.
mine to repack it.
I know
But
that's
he
right.
did an outstanding. I know how much work it
We do
is. He did an
appreciate that.
outstanding job. Uh, the one thing I do want to say is that what he just said was very true, and I mentioned that one time before. Start doing these things a little bit at a time if you can. If you can't afford to put that money out right away, um, start getting some items, collecting items. You can contact us, and like I said, we have a workshop, and we'll teach you how to put the bag together. Or you can hire us, and you can come with we can come up with a plan, and we can put the bag together for you based on what you say your needs are for you and your family or whomever, and we can bring the bag to you completely done. So that's something we want to make sure we offer to people that we can
Mhm.
do. And keep watching us, keep supporting us, hit the like, as Brother Muhammad said,
That's
follow and
right.
share it because each week it will be a little more informative. Um, and we'll go in a little further and we'll have some alternative ways to take resources that you have every day in case something happens and you're not prepared. You might be able to find some things in your vicinity that you can use to get you to a place where you can gather some things and put yourself in a better position. So look forward to that. Um,
Mhm.
Another outstanding show, gentlemen. Aaron, you did an
Another
outstanding
outstanding
job.
show.
I appreciate you unloading that bag. I know you'll be repacking it until tomorrow morning.
Right? For sure. So what I want to do, I wanna, Brother Henry, what I want to do is I want to close out the show with going into some of the recent evacuations this year that people have had to go through. And 2024 has been one of those years where it's been some serious extreme weather. And I just wanted to say that if you think that you're in an area that is safe, I look forward to us doing a program where we talk about disaster or threats that are in your state. I look forward to doing that program. But if you all want to hang around, you can. But if not, I'm just going to go through about 10 of these that have occurred, and then I'm going to go ahead and close it on out. I want to thank you, brothers, for always, sharing some valuable, vital information. And, of course, there are movies, streaming, there's sports, and those are all good, you know what I mean? But I think in today's time, one of the things that we really need to do is start to talk to our families about disaster preparedness and the possibility even of civil unrest. So with that, thank you, brothers. And I'm gonna go ahead and read off of this list. And if you, like I said, if you all want to hang around, that's good. And so let me go ahead and get into this. So a few other, as we were talking about, I want to go ahead and look at some of these things that cause people to evacuate. So Hurricane Idalia. Hurricane Idalia made landfall in Florida, prompting mandatory evacuation orders for coastal areas, particularly in Big Bend region, residents experienced. And let me see here. Were urged to evacuate ahead of the storm's arrival due to anticipated storm surge and heavy rainfall. The wildfires that we were talking about in California in September 2024, several wildfires erupted across Northern California, including uh, uh, Kameth National Forest area. Evacuation orders were issued for communities near the fires, including parts of Siskiyou County and Humboldt County, as flames threatened homes and infrastructure. Flooding in New York, heavy rainfalls led to significant flooding in parts of upstate New York in October 2024. The state issued evacuation orders for low-lying areas along rivers that were at risk of overflowing their banks, particularly affecting um, the Mohawk River. And let me go down here. Then we have Toronto outbreak in the Midwest, a tornado outbreak in the Midwest. A series of weather outbreak resulted in multiple tornadoes across states like Illinois and Indiana. Some communities faced immediate evacuation orders due to the threat posed by these tornadoes and subsequent damage assessments. And I wanted to say with tornadoes, I wrote a book. You all may or may not believe it. It's on tornadoes, and one of the facts about tornadoes is that there are more tornadoes that strike North America than any other country, more tornadoes that strike America than any other countries, and the winds that are in tornadoes are stronger than those that are in hurricanes. So um, that is something to really take note of, and we're seeing more and more of them. They used to say that Tornado Alley was in the middle of the country, but now it's moving slowly eastward. So uh, think about that and think about some of the things that you can do to prepare just in case you hear those tornado sirens go off in your area. Or volcanic activity. Following increased seismic activity in Mauna uh, Lua volcano, authorities issued precautionary evacuation orders for residents living near the volcano's flakes during due to concerns about potential lava flows and ash fall and chemical spill as I mentioned, in Palestine, there was a derailment. Chemical spills are a manufacturing facility near Houston, prompted local officials to issue evacuation orders in nearby neighborhoods due to toxic fumes released into the air. And that's very serious whenever you have some toxic fumes releasing into the air, because sometimes those toxic fumes are not, you may not smell them, and you may not see the fumes. So that's something that you need to, when you hear that evacuation warning, don't think that just because you don't see the fumes or don't smell the fumes, that it's not in the air. Tsunami warning. After a significant undersea earthquake off the coast of Alaska generated tsunami warnings along parts of the West Coast coastal communities from California to Washington, were placed under evacuation advisories until it was confirmed that no tsunami would impact the areas. Severe, and there are just a few more. I just got two more. Uh, severe, uh, severe storms in February 2024. Blizzard conditions prompted emergency declarations and voluntary evacuation recommendations for certain mountain towns where travel became treacherous due to heavy snowfall and high winds. And winter storm, if you remember, Texas got hit really bad with just extreme cold weather. I mean, the weather was so cold that it just shut down all of their power generating facilities. Um, the the uh the windmills, the turbines froze, the solar panels wouldn't work. I mean, it got so cold that it just shut it all down. And so that's another situation where you might just say, well, I'm not going to sit here in my house and freeze. I'm going to go over here to Betty's house, who my cousin who lives in Florida. I don't have a cousin in Florida, but I'm just saying you might want to get up out of there. um and let's see here, tropical storms. In Louisiana, tropical storm Marco brought extensive rainfall, leading to flash flooding across southern Louisiana. Evacuation orders were issued for several parishes as water levels rose rapidly. And so when you have that flash flooding, that's what it is. It's rapid water rising. So you definitely want to, as we were saying, be ready to get up out of there. And the last one is public emergency related evacuations. Certain regions have seen localized evacuations related to public health emergencies, such as outbreaks of infectious diseases, where vulnerable populations were advised or mandated to relocate temporarily. And so that's another thing, is that, when you get these evacuation advisories, some of those are mandated, meaning that if you don't evacuate, you're going to go to there's a possibility that you will go to jail, um, or you just may lose your life, which is of course worse than going to jail. But with that, I wanted to thank you all for watching, and we're going to go ahead and close out. As I said, go to our Patreon site and join. When you join, it will definitely help us to fund this program. And with that, I want to leave you as we came before you. May God continue to bless you and your family with the light of truth and understanding. God bless.